I
No.
can't believe we are talking about Sean McDermott using a 9/11 reference in 2019.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't see this one coming.
Nope.
No.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome to an emergency podcast of the Buffalo Plus podcast presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. We are here talking to you on Thursday, December 6th at 7:34 about the Sean McDermott situation going on at One Bills Drive. There was an article put out by Ty Dunn, a former Buffalo News reporter who now independently reports for golongtd.com. He put out a 3-part article about Sean McDermott. And within that, he had a report that there was a 9/11 reference that McDermott made at a team meeting back in 2019 at Fisher, where he referenced 9/11 in reference to the hijackers and how they were
able to work together.
Essentially how they were coordinated and how they were able to work together to achieve their goals. Sean McDermott came out on Thursday, unprompted, took reporters' questions, had a statement apologizing for the comments. And where is this team at right now?
Look, for Sean McDermott, you can parse all the stuff. You can say it was 4 years ago, it was in a private meeting, all those things. What matters is where it is now, is what you're saying is.
Yeah.
And for a coach who prides himself on, keeping his team focused and all those things, did he intend this? No, it was 4 years ago. It came out because of this article. But he has to own it that he did say these things.
Yeah.
And then he talked about where he was at that time. It's brutal. It's brutal timing. It's never good for this. But look, this team is a desperate football team. They've already dealt with the Von Miller thing this week, leading into the biggest game of the year.
Which we've already had to talk about.
Yes. And now you have this with Sean McDermott. And I say to myself, he did the right thing in apologizing again, because while some players knew about it, we didn't know about it.
No.
And the general public certainly didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So here you are saying, wait a minute, Sean is making references to the 9/11 hijackers in a way to motivate his team. No matter what, terrible idea, poorly executed because he apologized that day.
Yeah.
And none of it works for where this team was at the time, but maybe more importantly, because it came out now.
Jenna, we're recording this on Thursday at 7:30.
That's something I would say.
Go ahead.
What'd I do?
I said the time before me.
All right. It's been a lot.
It's been a long day.
Okay.
It's been a long day.
We were recording a podcast earlier
today.
As in the middle of it, this news broke about Sean. We had known about the article. We were going to touch on the article by Ty Dunn, and all of this happened on top of it. Sean had to come out.
Yeah.
Sean looked uncomfortable, visibly emotional. It's not his forte. I don't know if it's anybody's forte to handle these kind of situations. But again, we were up at practice on Wednesday, and the entire talk was Von Miller. This team is heading into their biggest game of the season, a must-win. And we talked on Wednesday about Von Miller and his allegations that he has to deal with. And now on Thursday, we're talking about Sean McDermott's comments from 2019. It is a lot for this team to handle off the field and then go into Arrowhead. This is crazy to me that we're sitting here and very little have we talked about going up against this Chiefs team.
Yeah, I think just because of what was said. And Sean McDermott, let's talk about some of the things that he did say. Because I think you mentioned it, obviously emotional. He said, and he talked about how back in 2019, Mike, he went and he, about an hour after he said he went to this team, he apologized. He wanted to talk about it and tried to handle it, as he talked about, like a leader then. Let's insert one of the sound bites right here of what McDermott said, because to give a little bit more context.
That's how I felt. And that's multiple players came up to me. Some which said, you didn't even have to do that. And others said, thank you for doing that. And so, like normally happens, there's some people who feel a certain way and some people who But even if there was one, and that's where it started. And so as soon as I felt that way, that, hey, you know what, I need to go clear this up. And that's what you do. That's to me how you handle things. And so that's what I did. And I felt that was important then, as I said, and I still feel like it's important.
He also said later on that he was going to have a team meeting later on after the players got out of practice on Thursday to go over more in depth about what his apology was. But I think that this is, and you talk about it, the comments that were made were obviously reprehensible. I don't think, and I really truly don't think McDermott meant it in that way, but either way, it's inappropriate and should have never been said. But Mike, this is something that will follow him.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, it was made in 2019, which again, you can say, well, that's 4 years ago. Doesn't matter in a way because he did it as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills and did it in a team meeting. It wasn't public, but now it's public. The other part of that is he did it with a roster that doesn't even closely resemble what's here now. I mean, look at all the new players that have come since then. So he had to address that. And that was the other thing he talked about, where he did it back in 2019, where I think he realized it quickly.
Yeah.
But now he's also realizing it quickly that he has to talk to the guys on his current team that are hearing about this now.
I do plan on meeting with the team. It is important to me that as I've discussed here, that we are on the same page, and even guys that weren't here understand how I feel about the 9/11 event. And as I mentioned to the team then, that I regretted and apologized for me not doing a good job of clearly communicating my point. And I'm going to do the same with the team today about when they're done meetings, so that if there's anyone new, that they understand how important that is to me and my family, because it's an important event, a horrific event in our history, and I think that's important.
And he needs to have team meetings. Like when we're talking about, sometimes we reference things that would be distractions. You know, if you're a defensive back on the team, you can hear all this other stuff. Man, you're watching film. You're worried about your team. I'm worried about my keys and what I'm going to do to play. You can say you're distracted, but they can just go play. Sean McDermott is the head coach and the defensive coordinator. Now he's dealing with this, having meetings, probably meeting with Terry Pegula. Like, you can't tell me the head coach isn't distracted. You can't tell me that because of this, it's not impacting the preparations for this entire team and distracting the whole place. And it also, I do think, for a guy who prides himself on leadership, it makes him look vulnerable and weak in a way, because he's had to come out and apologize for a mistake that, as a guy who speaks to his team often, has to realize that that was the wrong type of message.
And it's not only that, we've talked on here about criticizing Sean McDermott's coaching.
Yeah.
The way that he runs a soft zone or a prevent defense, or his decisions to kick field goals or punt
challenges
the ball.
Or
anything like that.
Yeah.
This is the first time we are talking about an off the field
character
misstep.
Yeah.
If that's, I don't even know if that's fair enough to say. Misstep may not be the right word, but just an off the field issue that he put himself into. And so now you're dealing with it. And for, like you said, Mike, it happened in 2019. Players still know about it now.
Yeah.
Like this was, like you said, Jenna, this is going to stay with him. Like, you're now the coach that tried to motivate your team with terrorists of 9/11. Like, not only that, it's in that building too.
Yeah.
Like before it was public, it has been circulating in that building for 4 years.
The players that were not around knew about that.
Yes. In a sort of, I hate to say it, because anybody with a work environment knows sometimes things are said, joked about, that wouldn't be understood or talked about publicly. I think it was more of like, oh yeah, we've heard about it, or they joked about it one time. Now it's in the forefront.
Yeah.
Now it's who Sean McDermott, to a lot of people, who he is. Now look, we've been ripping him because what he did was wrong. I will say this, I don't think at all. I think Sean McDermott is actually, as a person, he seems to be, pro-military, American. Like, that is who the guy is. We've seen it in his actions. He referenced losing somebody in 9/11, close to his family. I get all that. But in a moment, that doesn't matter. As
Correct.
a leader and as a coach,
Mhm.
terrible decision making. And if you have to apologize for what you said, and not just to misspeak for what you planned to say, you have to apologize right away. It's not like it was his first team meeting. He had been coach
Yeah,
already for 2
yeah.
years. And I think he's added to the criticism that'll be on him.
Well, I was gonna say, like, Dan, this only further turns up the heat on a guy who has already had a bunch of people calling for his job.
Yeah. It's tough. Like I said, it's indefensible because, like you said, you got on the field concerns about can he coach in big moments and all those things. And talking a little bit about the Ty Dunn article, it pretty much rips Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
That's what it does. Character all the way through. The word fraud is brought up several times, time and time again, that, he holds back Josh Allen. If you don't like Sean McDermott, the article is probably everything that you want to read. That being said, this was the one thing that came out that got him in hot water, that
Yeah.
he didn't come out and address any of the other stories, the sources, any of those things. This was the one thing that he had to come out and address because of the comment.
The severity of what.
Because
yeah.
if you read the article, and what this has done is highlighted that article.
And it's a 3-part article.
Yeah. So if you're doing a 3-part article on a person, the negative article about him, I would say you have an agenda to do that. I'm not saying there isn't accuracy to some of it.
I agree.
But in this case, Sean McDermott addressed it and didn't deny any of it.
Nope.
He did do it. This is the part that is sticking with him. The other parts, I mean, you could go on and on and on. Listen, we're around the team much more than the person who wrote the article. He used to be. He's not around the team as much. He's
Correct.
talking to a lot of people who used to be with the team. Some
Yeah.
left under certain circumstances. I am not sticking. Sean has put himself in this spot.
Yep.
Bad
Mhm.
decisions, lost games, whatever it is. I've never sensed that the players think he's a fraud. I never sensed the other coaches. He's got coaches that have been with him for a long time,
Yeah.
speak very highly of him. Again, they're working for him. It's that world. It is. But when you are losing or when you're having issues, man, it is easy to just go, look at this. And then, like you said, read that. Whatever percentage of it is accurate, just piles on to where McDermott is right now.
With the article, I did think to myself, obviously, like, wow, this is a lot of the information and what the sources were saying. I was like, this is a lot. And we were kind of talking about it, and trying to take your own personal biases out of things as a reporter when you're reading something. For me, I was kind of like, I see what was being written. And I also thought there's a lot of players that talk about wanting to come back. And there's a lot of like players, and the culture has been referenced by a ton of players and by coaches and things like that. So I always try to keep that also in mind, because obviously a head coach has his fingerprints and all of that stuff. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm just saying. We were talking. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that, like, players don't come to Buffalo because of the weather.
Really?
If Sean McDermott was a terrible person, I don't think that free agents are coming here and players want to re-sign and all of these things. Josh Allen helps. Don't get me wrong. Josh Allen helps. But I think there is something to the fact of that. I don't think Sean McDermott is this monster.
Yeah. And the other part is, look at the guys who've either left, come back.
Well, there's been a lot of guys that have come back.
That's what I'm saying is you've got the array of the type of people.
Yeah.
Guys who re-sign here, that have stayed here. It's rare when there's a guy running to get out of the door of Buffalo.
Mhm.
It used to be, trade me now, get me out of here.
I want to be on TV.
I was just thinking that.
Stephon Gilmore.
Look at us.
But none
Very
of
good,
that,
Mike.
Yes.
none of that is all for Sean McDermott. They're not like, I love Sean so much, I'm staying there.
Correct.
But I do think a lot of it was some people who have an axe to grind, that used to work for the Bills, that, isn't in coaching or playing. And some may have a legitimate point. I just think that we're around him a lot more and around the other players, especially you guys. And I don't sense all of this. I think we would sense way more of it or hear more of it if it was as accurate as it is portrayed there.
I think even with being on the sidelines, I think you would see more of that too, because a lot of times those sideline reactions are just immediate knee-jerk type of reactions before you have like the powdered press release type of response, and I haven't gotten that impression. That being said, there was a lot of stuff listed in that article, and I feel like when there are other people saying that you have to take that with, okay, like this is a claim that's being made. Can I see that there is a side to this that could be true? Absolutely. I think that it's like anything else, that you have to take a measured, critical analysis of what is being said.
Well said.
And if you do want McDermott to be fired, then I think that article is
everything you want.
Is confirmation bias.
But I have the secret. Right. No, go ahead. Finish.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the secret for Sean McDermott is
win
games.
Just win, baby.
Yeah, if he wins, but he's put himself in this spot that after all his success, his first, what I would say, truly bad season. It's had bad moments, but bad season. This is games they should have won.
Yeah, this is different than 2018.
They should not be. Yeah, 2018 was a terrible roster with a rookie quarterback. That's what they knew what this was going to be. Actually, it was kind of a miracle that team won, 5 games?
Yeah.
That was not a very good team. This one you could put on coaching. He put a lot on himself this year. He became the coordinator, moved on from Leslie Frazier, fires Ken Dorsey. Like, he's done a lot of those things. So he's put it on himself. And there's some times when people are just aiming right back at him. He's got to respond to that. And the way to do it is to win games.
And I just want to make one more thing about the article. I don't really, it doesn't bother me that they're unnamed sources.
No.
That does not bother me one bit.
In journalism, that's
common. Believe
also.
me, Tyler Dunn is a good reporter who is getting real interviews with people.
100%.
This is not unnamed because it's not, I mean, this
legitimate
is real. And
sources,
it's people's
correct
thoughts on what they think of Sean.
Correct. But I go back to when Ken Dorsey was fired and Quentin Spain tweets out, "You fired the wrong guy."
Yeah.
And I just thought, and Bills Mafia is like, oh my goodness. Quentin Spain was here for a cup of coffee and got cut after he was re-signed and was great one year. And within 4 games, he was cut. I don't care what Quentin Spain has to say.
I didn't care what he had to say when he was here.
So like,
I think too, he also wanted to come back. Like he
wanted to come back.
He wanted to come back.
And they re-signed him.
And they did re-sign him. And then
they cut him. And like all of a sudden he was inactive one week. He was pissed about something. He had to delete tweets and then he was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody else picked him up.
I think you can legitimately criticize McDermott for some of the coaching decisions that have been made.
No doubt.
I think that is absolutely, we're not saying that that's not unfair. I think that is a piece of being a head coach, is in those critical moments, you need to make the
100%.
right decisions. And there have been failures in that. I 1,000% agree with that. But reading some of the early parts of the article talking about, like, you know, we knew Ken Dorsey essentially was going to be the scapegoat. He was going to be fired. I feel like as someone covering the team and watching this offense for the majority of this season, the offense, we joked like it didn't look coordinated.
All you need to do is watch how the offense plays. And if it continues to play like this,
McDermott's going to be criticized for not making the move sooner.
Yeah. That would be my criticism of him.
It's not that that Ken Dorsey was the scapegoat. It was that Ken Dorsey was the legitimate problem. And that, like we said, Sean McDermott's loyalty held him and this offense back.
Yeah.
Yeah. They needed to make that move, and they did. Look, again, he's made mistakes. There is no question, but there's always going to be people who from the, you talk to them and they have a very different opinion of somebody. It happens with all of us. Dan, how many times do we hear people saying bad stuff about Jenna that work with her? And we just, we don't believe a lot of it, some of it.
Most people just say it in the comments. It's about me. They don't do it unnamed. I see their username.
Oh yeah,
they just do it.
Yeah. I just had a guy on Twitter come after me. So yeah.
Brian Sweat is smiling way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Executive producer.
It's
Buffalo
like people
Plus
say it like kindly
laugh.
behind Jenna's back. They just say it in the comments to my face.
Yeah, they do.
The comments, man.
Yeah, they just call me old. It's this guy. I gotta rip somebody.
Cranky.
I'm not really cranky, am I?
No. Actually, you are very rarely in a bad mood.
I'm very rarely in a bad mood.
They don't listen to me. I say the same things and they will just repeat it about 7 seconds. You're like on tape delay.
Damn, we don't listen to her.
Just trust me. Absolutely. You could not have planned you saying, though, we're recording this at 7:30 on Thursday. Like, you did that.
That was so mean.
I was
like, jealous of you.
I was what are we doing? What do you mean?
And he made a point of looking.
What do you
mean? We are recording this.
I know. I was like, I literally just did that. What? What an idiot. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Oh, can we talk about football? We will. I'm just between the
I
Von Miller
know.
thing and this. I just it's Bills and Chiefs, which is a great
I know, it's such a
matchup.
great
I know.
rivalry.
And you want to know what settles all of this?
Win.
Win.
Yeah. Oh man. If
And by the
they-
way, we all think they're winning Sunday.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a. I thought that
But we
it
did
would be.
think they were.
I thought it would be a statement win
Yeah.
on Sunday. Now I think it's going to be.
It would be a Billsian win.
We were. Yeah.
You can go with that.
Can I say it?
You go right ahead.
We were saying that this would be the Billsiest way for the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Just like backs against the wall, having to rattle off and.
Yes. I mean, look, this is, I'm not saying it's happened. This has happened before. The Giants team, that they were firing Coughlin.
Yeah.
He hung on, and they somehow got themselves in the playoffs and they went on and won a Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, it has happened, but not the way you want to draw it up.
No.
I
No.
can't believe
No.
we are talking about Sean McDermott using a 9/11 reference in 2019.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't see this one coming.
Nope.
No.
But it is.
Just so out of character too.
Yes.
That's the second time we've heard that
Oh,
Phrase. But it is. They said that about
Von.
Von Miller. The difference is this. I don't think there has been any question of Sean. I mean, this article is about the way he handles himself as a coach. I'm talking about as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, this is the first, again, criticize Sean for all these things. And yeah, we have said before that Sean, his favorite show is Monday Night Football, and his
Yeah.
favorite food is
I
a
honestly
malted
think to be
milkshake.
an NFL coach, you kind of have to be a very
And you do have to
particular
talk in front of the
person.
team. There's no excuse. I'm not trying to make excuses, but you talk in front of the team all the time and
neither am I.
just talk about a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it comes back. And that's what happened. It came back here. So let's see how it plays out. I think it plays out the way this season plays out.
Buckle up.
Yeah. Feels
Like-
like such a long.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it. Comment your thoughts.
Yeah. Your thoughts on Sean McDermott?
Processing
overall.
all of this.
Yeah. You can comment on whatever you want, but this is about Sean, the position he put himself in, where this team is
Yeah.
now, and what you think's going to happen. Comment on any of it.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a.
What a day.
I know. What a week. Okay. All right. For Mike,
And we'll be in Kansas City.
we will be in Kansas City.
Slaps?
I was going to suggest
You
us to
pick.
go to Slaps Barbecue.
Look, I've been there twice. I'm going to
I
make
thought
it
it
a
was
third time.
very, very good.
Slaps is great.
We got invited to dinner on Saturday night too.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if we will. We're gonna be tired. We're leaving there early. We're
Haley?
Yeah. So the video you did, be sure to check it out if you want to see Haley Lewis. She has been reporting on the Chiefs for quite
5, 6
I was
years.
gonna
Yeah.
say, yeah. Dan did a what they're saying in Kansas City with her.
Boy, I taped that on Tuesday, so that is
Yeah.
completely.
Well, that's about the game though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Which
not
if
the game.
people
That's it.
if people do want to get into more of the X's and O's and a matchup of what we
We
can
talked,
expect
yeah.
from the Chiefs, I
That's
Bills
think that
offense
would be.
or Chiefs offense, Chiefs defense, Kelsey, Taylor Swift, all of that's covered.
Is
Yep.
Taylor Swift going?
Usually it's around now. They say they start tracking the jet.
It's
And then
so
see where it
wild.
is.
It's like Santa's sleigh.
Yeah.
I heard she's very excited to meet Jenna Cottrell.
Oh my
this
god. I
weekend.
love a fellow tall gal.
That's it.
I do.
All right.
I would lose my mind if I'm not like a huge Swiftie fan, but I feel like that would be pretty cool.
We saw the Kelsey and
Oh yeah, we
And,
saw Jason and his wife in Philly.
Oh,
Did they?
really?
and
Yeah.
Kylie?
yeah, Kylie.
She's tall too. No? I thought she was.
And then shout out Matt Beauvais, WKBW, great help. And he was like, I'm never usually starstruck, but like there
That's
they
cool.
are.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
yeah.
We saw Jason.
Josh.
Oh,
Who'd we say? We saw Josh and
Haley.
yeah, we did.
In London.
Yes. But I was saying Super Bowl when the Chiefs won.
Oh, we saw Jason,
and Kelsey right after they had their
They had
first
their baby.
daughter.
and I went up to him and said, "Fly Eagles, fly."
Yeah, you did.
He laughed. He was wearing his brother's
He
shirt.
they were literally just trying to sneak into the Super Bowl with their
I just said,
newborn
"Fly
baby.
Eagles, fly," and he laughed.
Yeah, because he was like,
He was wearing his brother's jersey. He looked like every other Chiefs fan at the game.
yeah, he really did.
Who happens to be 330 pounds, with a huge
He
beard.
spotted him out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for watching. We so appreciate it. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. For Dan and Mike, I am Jenna. We'll have plenty more game coverage of this matchup in Kansas City this upcoming weekend. Thank you for joining us. We will catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel, presented by Connors and Ferris.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.